The Uganda Water and Environment Week is back. Join us as we deliver value internally and externally by promoting a multinational integrated approach that links all sectors of water and environment, and also explore and deliberate on the water and environment resources to climate resilience. The week commemorates 3 sector days of World Water Day, World Forestry Day, and World Meteorological Day. The Uganda Water and Environment Week will take place from 12th to 17th March 2023 at the Ministry of Water and Environment headquarters in Luzira, under the theme Water and Environment for Climate Resilient Development.
Uganda Water and Environment Week is organized by Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute with support from development partners.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcast of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
And in case you have just joined, this is News Hour. My name is Alex Wandeva. Now to our first story. The Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 has been presented before Parliament for first reading. The bill, which was presented by Vugiro Municipality Member of Parliament Asuman Vasalira, will now be subjected to scrutiny before it is passed into law. Anna Kajumba has the details to the story.
While presenting the Anti-Homosexuality Bill before Parliament, Vugiro Municipality Member of Parliament Asuman Vasalira thanked the government for its commitment towards the bill by giving him a certificate of financial implication, one of the green lights for him to proceed with the bill. He said the reason the first act was annulled by courts of law was because it was passed without quorum, and asked all members of Parliament to make public commitments in form of messages and videos in support of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, the pressure is immense, the pressure is enormous, but you stood your ground, we have stood our ground, they stood their ground. I want to make a humble request that each of us makes a public commitment in as far as this matter is concerned. The reason why this bill was thrown out last time was a matter of quorum. We want to request people to have messages and videos making public commitments that as far as they are concerned, for themselves and their constituencies, they are in support of this bill.
Basalira said that the Anti-Corruption Bill 2023, if passed into law, it will prohibit marriages of persons of the same sex, provide protection and assistance as well as compensation of victims of homosexuality.
Objects of the bill: to prohibit marriage between persons of the same sex, to prohibit and penalize homosexual behavior and related practices, 3, to prohibit the promotion of homosexuality, and 4, to protect and provide assistance and payment of compensation to victims of homosexuality.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, referred the bill to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for thorough scrutiny.
We are going to have the bill go to the committee, accord people public hearing, maximum. Let the public come and express their views, including the homos. Allow them to come. Even if you have members of parliament, religious leaders, all of them, please listen to them before you report back to the House. We don't want that scenario of saying we're not heard, as if you're doing something that is legal, that we're not heard. So we want them to be heard, even in their illegality, even in their immorality. Let's hear them.
She encouraged legislators not to get intimidated over their respective position on the proposed bill, and welcomed both local and international media which stand up to cover the tabling of the Anti-Homosexuality Bill. The government chief whip, Hamson Dennis Obua, clarified to the House that neither government nor the office of the Speaker is under pressure to pass the bill.
General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is not under any pressure. I also want to state that the leadership of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, under Right Honorable Anita Among Anet, who is here in person, is not under any pressure. The laws we make constitutionally, we make them for the peace, for the order, and for the good governance.
Parliament on Tuesday last week granted leave to Basalirwa to introduce a private member's bill titled the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023. Reporting for NewsHour, I'm Anna Kajumba in Parliament.
Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago has castigated the law enforcement team of the Capital City Authority for acting like a militia. The law enforcement team, dubbed Rapid Response Unit, is being accused of, among other things, being brutal and unethical in their manner of operations. The Rapid Response Unit was established under the current reign of Dorothy Kisaka, the Executive Director of Kampala Capital City Authority. Our reporter Diana Olwenyi-Peters has the details.
I sell shoes. We always have such problems. I remember 3 days back,
Okia Peter, a shoe seller in Wandegea, shares his ordeal at the hands of the Kampala Capital City Authority law enforcement team, known as the Rapid Response Unit. Call them RRU.
They came and took all the shoes and they had to ask for money that is more than the capital. So the best I had to do is to leave. There's nothing I can do. That's life.
The Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago has branded the law enforcement team as a militia operating with impunity.
So basically that's where we have a challenge. And this group called RRU, it's a militia. RRU is a militia. We have a militia in our own yard here. I'm told they even have tear gas canisters, they have handcuffs, they arrest, they brutalize, they detain, they confiscate people's property. They have all that latitude to cause mayhem with impunity. We can't allow that to happen.
He reveals that the city's political wing is working on an ordinance to streamline the operations of the Rapid Response Unit.
And that's why we are working on an ordinance to regularize their establishment and functioning, operations rather. Now, as we are processing the ordinance to regulate the enforcement, the recruitment, training, and disciplinary makeup for the enforcement, then somebody else comes up with another outfit in the form of a militia called RRU. RRU, Rapid Response Unit. You're responding to what? In creating a trade order in Kampala, do you need RRU, Rapid Response Unit? Which emergency are you responding to? It's just about dealing with the people in a civilized manner. So we have issues with RRU, we have issues with the way enforcement is being handled.
Responding to the Lord Mayor, Simon Kasiata, the KCCA Public Relations Officer, notes that their mandate is to make the city habitable for everyone.
I can't say anything about that. That's the Lord Mayor's opinion, and he has got the right to his opinion. I am not the best judge of whether his opinion is right or wrong. He works for the same institution called KCCA that deploys those so-called RRU people.
Before he says he's not aware of them.
At what point does he stop being aware of them? At the point of castigating their modus operandi? No, ask him, when you next meet the Lord Mayor, ask him at what point doesn't he know about RRU? He knows about them when he's complaining about them, but does not know about them when it comes to the operations. In enforcing our mandate as KCCA, we use appropriate means to do so. Those appropriate means may to some people appear inappropriate, but ours is not a business of pleasing everyone. Ours is enforcement and making the city a city that you, those listening to us, and everyone else will be proud to live in.
Kampala Capital City Authority has for years been mired in controversy over the operations of its law enforcement officers, particularly against street vendors. As a result, the city authorities in 2022 were compelled to procure body cameras for their enforcement officers. This initiative was aimed at monitoring what happens when these officers are deployed and help reduce citizens' complaints about their operations. Reporting for NewsHour, I'm Diano Olwenyi-Peters.
National Council for Higher Education has attributed the stay in operation by institutions whose licenses have been revoked to to the Gaps in the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, which was amended in 2006. While launching activities to mark the 20th anniversary of the National Council for Higher Education at Speke Resort Munyonyo, the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, committed to prioritize amendment of the Act to help address new developments and emerging issues brought about by the changing education environment. We have the details by Fahim Moyingo.
National Council of Higher Education has commenced activities to mark its 20 years in existence. The Council prides in having accredited a total of 252 higher institutions of learning, with 10 public universities, 43 private universities, 20 other degree awarding institutions, and 178 other tertiary institutions.
Standards and capacity indicators have been set regarding the expected level of requirements against which quality is assessed or that must be attained by higher education institutions and their programs of study in order for them to be accredited or certified.
The Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has urged the Council for Higher Education to start providing guidance to the general public on the dangers and risks involved in digitalization of young people at universities and before they get there. This is in addition to their mandate of regulating higher education institutions in the country, putting emphasis on quality education.
Council for Higher Education is perhaps better placed to really find a way to guide our young generation to know how to explore the internet safely, because we know that most of the parents of our children are not able to guide their students, to guide their children. So the children go into the exploration of internet.
As they celebrate 20 years of service this year, the Council faces challenges brought up by the delay in amending the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, which was last amended in 2006. Elika Tunguka, the chairperson of the council, says they also decry the inadequate funding and staffing amidst a growing number of institutions in the country.
Unlike other regulatory bodies in the country, which has enforcement powers, I regret to inform you that the current Act as it is today does not power National Council to enforce its decisions. This explains why institutions whose licenses have been revoked continue to operate illegally, even after closure. This jeopardizes the future of their students.
The First Lady therefore committed to prioritizing amending this Act for education to catch up with the changing environment.
We help to address the new developments and emerging issues occasioned by the changing education environment in Uganda and beyond. It will also serve to strengthen your regulatory role in the education sector.
The anniversary that is to be celebrated in September this year, under the theme 20 years of National Council of Higher Education Transforming Higher Education in Uganda, has started with the launch of a new logo for the Council. Fahim Moyingo, reporting for UBC News Hour.
And the National Economic Empowerment Dialogue Needy Political Party has officially opened its offices in Rubaga Lule Zone with the desire to reach out and relate with low-earning Ugandans. Joseph Kabuleta, the party president, said that they intend to disengage from active politics and concentrate on making a remarkable impact in society. Mary Prima Awor reports.
Addressing journalists at the new National Economic Empowerment Dialogue offices in Lubaga, the party president and also a former presidential candidate, Joseph Kabuleta, noted that politics in Uganda is mainly based on personalities other than ideology. He said that poor resource utilization, greed and lack of proper decentralization across the different sub-regions in the country are the reason for slow development.
If they just get a percentage of what comes from their region to manage at their level, then they send a bigger percentage to the national coffers to be split among others. A lot of these regions can develop in a matter of 5 years and you can't recognize them. For instance, Karamoja, they are Mabu and they are gold and they are what? If we just give them a percentage of what comes from their region, they don't need us. We need them.
He suggested that Uganda needs a system of governance where leadership is at the center of the regions for proper accountability.
So if there's a problem in Karamoja, we deal with the governor there, and he deals with the problem at that level because he knows what is there. So there's a governor in Buganda who knows all the issues in Buganda. There's a governor in Teso. Now what that does is it decentralizes power, and they are developing their places, and the people elect a governor they want. So if Teso is backward, you don't come to us in central government. You ask your governor. We are sharing the resources of the country equally. How come yours are not building roads? How come yours are not building schools and hospitals and so on?
Kavuleta added that the government should consider investing in researchers to ease their work in providing authentic study reports while they focus on serving Ugandans. Reporting for News Hour, I am Mary Prima Awori.
And elsewhere, a section of the people who were affected by the ongoing construction of the East African crude oil pipeline, EACOP, have petitioned the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, together with the Chief Justice, Alphonse Owinyedolo, and his deputy, Richard Butera, over the delayed hearing of their compensation cases. Commonly known as project-affected persons, have noted that on April 12th and July 26, 2022, they wrote to the Principal Judge and Deputy Chief Justice respectively, requesting them to use their powers to ensure that their cases are fixed for hearing. Fahim Muyingo has the details.
Addressing the media in Kampala, Dickens Kamgisha, the Chief Executive Officer of Africa Institute for Energy Governance, AFIEGO, explained that the project-affected persons, PAPS, filed a case in the High Court in 2012, but to date the case has never been heard. He added that on April 12, 2022, they wrote to the Principal Judge and on July 26, 2022 to the Deputy Chief Justice, requesting them to use their powers to ensure that their cases are fixed for hearing, but no response was got.
It started in Kampala High Court, they pushed it to Masindi High Court, today it is in the Hoima High Court, it has changed. We are now with the 7th judge. So that is one of the areas that these communities have grievances, they cannot get justice in court. In 2020, the government of Uganda filed a case against the communities in Terenga who had refused the compensation that had been offered as being unfair, being inadequate. The government this time is the one that took the case to High Court. That case was filed in 2020. Within 6 months, the government got a ruling. The court allowing the government to deposit compensation in court and proceed to evict the communities.
Kamgisha further noted that in 2019, the communities affected by the Tilenga project also filed a case in the High Court, challenging the environmental and social impact assessment certificate, which was issued by NEMA. This certificate had not taken into account their social needs and environmental rights.
And the most unfortunate thing is that the government has continued to evict these people. Yet, as you know, Article 26 of the Constitution provides that government can only evict, can only displace anyone after they have fairly and adequately compensated the affected people. But now they are using court. You remember sometime back when the government wanted to amend the Constitution to change that, when they give you compensation and you don't like it, they can proceed to evict you and take over the land. At least Ugandans united and rejected that amendment or the attempt to amend the Constitution. Now they went to court and used the court to actually achieve what Ugandans rejected in the process of amending the Constitution.
Highlighting some of the challenges they are facing currently, Tondolo John, the chairperson of the PAPS in Tilenga Resettlement Action Plan 1 in Wolisa District, said they were surprised in 2020 after receiving a summon from the High Court in Masindi for refusing compensation from government. According to Mugisha Jealousy, a resident from Kasenyi village in Wolisa District, also noted that Total Energies, led by Atacama Consulting subcontractor, acquired land for the central processing facility, which is equivalent to 772 acres. However, when it came to the time of compensation, they were being asked to take 3.5 million shillings per acre, but they still insisted on being paid 21 million shillings.
The community start putting the alarm because of poor compensation. Before government announced, it was 2,100,000 Uganda shillings. But community raised their voice seriously. By then, the Minister of Land and Housing Urban Development was Betty Amongi. He went there with him. Then the government make a top-up of some money. It reached in 3.5 million. And the community still resists, telling the price is very fake. We tried to ask 21 million per acre. Our rights was not respected.
When contacted about the issue at hand, Judiciary spokesperson Jameson Karimani denied knowledge about the cases, however asked the project-affected persons to avail all the details to the Inspectorate of Courts.
Them come and avail our leadership here. They can go to the Inspectorate of Courts and give them the details of those cases. If they can't go to the principal judge, those officers are open for them to engage them.
Among the cases that were appealed and have never been heard include the Tilenga Affected People's Compensation case for the cancellation of Tilenga Esia, and Oil Refiners Affected People's Compensation case. The process of government acquiring land started in 2018, but continues to face setbacks, among them being campaigns by human rights activists who claim project-affected communities are not being listened to. Fahim Muyingo, reporting for UBC News Hour.
Now, Uganda has embarked on the zoning of areas that can grow bamboo. The National Forestry Authority move of zoning bamboo areas aims at producing it in large quantities for export purposes. Sarah Natolo has the details of the story.
Codenamed Bamboo Site Species Matching Study in Uganda seeks to enable more bamboo production in the zoned places of Mbale, Kabale, Chisolo, and Igulu districts, as well as in the West Nile region, among other selected areas. Officiating at the launch in Kampala, the Executive Director, National Forestry Authority, Tom Okello, said, by zoning, bamboo production will increase.
We launched, traditionally we have used bamboo for craft material, for building material, for furniture. As we talk now, we have one company which is now exporting bamboo fiber to Europe. In fact, they sold their first container of bamboo fiber recently. We are saying, let us diversify the forest products, let us move away from the traditional timber, let us look at adding value to the forest products which we have in the country so that we can make more money. Bamboo is a non-crop which can do exactly that. Bamboo can contribute to the livelihoods of the people.
He said more sectors are expected to flourish out of bamboo, hence more revenue. Okello cited numerous benefits coming out of bamboo, ranging from domestic to industrial.
Species site matching looks at the sites in terms of the soils, the topography, the slopes, soil characteristics, the pH, the salinity, which is suited for the different species, because not all trees or plants grow in the same area. There are species which are associated with the wet environment, there are those which are associated with dry environment, there are those which are associated with acid soil for acidic soils, there are those which are associated with alkaline soil. Now, this report is focusing on which species grow where. We have launched this report today and we expect it to be put to use immediately so that we can plant the right species at the right place so that we can get what we want out of it.
The Director Plantation Development National Forest Authority, Stuart Mandraguha, says Uganda is now focusing on bamboo industrialization.
Ideally, Uganda, we are trying to do industrialization of bamboo, and for us to be able to achieve this, we are focusing on the entire value chain of bamboo. So what brings us here is looking at the site species matching, and this is the report being launched. This one helps us to know which bamboo species to plant where across the country Uganda, so that we are able to guide the farmers very well on the species that grow and perform very well in their area. What this means is that once this information is taken up by all the people who are the potential farmers, then they will be able to invest in bamboo that is going to help them towards the socio-economic development and meet the aspirations of Uganda in terms of industrialization. In Uganda, we have two indigenous species. One is for the highlands, which is called Eugenia alpina. This is basically found in the highlands of Kisoro, Kigezi, the highlands of Kigezi, and then the mountains of Aragon. Then we have the lowland bamboo, which is called the Oxydencera abyssinica, and this is found basically in the lowland areas, mostly in the West Nile and northern part of Uganda.
Uganda has over 50,000 hectares of bamboo grown across the country. These include species that can be used for fodder, fuel, and furniture. Despite its high demand as construction materials, few farmers are growing it, and the country is missing out on the global market worth $6 billion. Fonizawa, Sarah Natolo reporting.
And you are still listening to News Hour from UBC Radio here in Kampala. This is Alex Wandeva, and this is the time when we take our break.
The Uganda Water and Environment Week is back. Join us as we deliver value internally and externally by promoting a multinational integrated approach that links all sectors of water and environment, and also explore and deliberate on the water and environment resources to climate resilience. The week commemorates 3 sector days of World Water Day, World Forestry Day, and World Meteorological Day. The Uganda Water and Environment Week will take place from 12th to 17th March 2023 at the Ministry of Water and Environment headquarters in Luzira, under the theme Water and Environment for Climate Resilient Development.
Uganda Water and Environment Week is organized by Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute with support from development partners.
Your favorite national, accurate, balanced, concise and comprehensive newscast. News Hour at 1 p.m. from Monday to Friday, right here on UBC Radios. UBC, inspiring Uganda. News Hour Weekend Edition. News Hour Weekend Edition airs every Saturday from 8 to 9 p.m. featuring top stories of the week. Make a date with UBC Radio as we bring you the weekly news roundup.
Welcome back to News Hour, and for other stories making headlines from the rest of the country, here is now an update on the upcountry news.
In the wake of increased threats and acts of violent extremism in the Eastern Horn of Africa, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, Center of Excellence for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism, has trained media practitioners on how to incorporate gender-sensitive approaches in their reports on countering violent extremism in the region. The 3-day training in Djibouti attracted media practitioners from 9 countries in Eastern Horn of Africa, including Uganda, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Djibouti. The director of IGAD Center of Excellence for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism, Dr. Simon Nyambura, said the Swedish-funded training sought to help journalists avoid gender biases in their reportage on countering violent extremism and also ensure their news reports do not fuel the acts.
Terrorists depend on media as a platform, as a mechanism to share their ideas and spread their ideology. So we felt that it's important we bring together high top-notch media personalities to be able to discuss how we can work together, how we can ensure that while we are informing the public, we are also denying violent extremists that platform that they want to use to perpetuate their ideas. So, and also, we have observed with time that as we report and do the coverage of violent extremism and terrorism, is that we have lacked an aspect of being gender sensitive, conflict sensitive. So we felt that these are good concepts that we come together and be able to share those ideas.
According to research, many media reports show men as major perpetrators of violent extremism and women as victims, which isn't always the case. The media practitioners were also tipped on responsible use of social media to counter violent extremism, especially now that the perpetrators of the acts are also using the same platforms. Dr. Martha Njiri is the head of the Strategic Communication Unit at the IGAD Center of Excellence for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism.
We have to double the effort that these groups are putting. We need to be aware that as we sit back and wait for information, that they are sat down, they are re-strategizing to see how to make sure the information goes far and wide and as quickly as it can. So as media practitioners, then it is very important to see that social media is a critical platform to integrate in terms of countering these and undermining the violent extremist narratives.
Dr. James Oranga, a lecturer of journalism at Nairobi University, challenged journalists to be well informed on the subject of violent extremism so as to produce well-packaged, balanced and accurate reports.
To read widely in the subject so that you get informed about various perspectives of gender sensitivity. 2 is to always interact with experts so that should you have any questions, any clarifications, some misconceptions, they can clarify them for you so that at the end of the day, you have very concrete clarity of the issue that you're reporting on, then you make no mistakes. When it comes to terrorism, the best way to address it is through investigative processes. Be an investigative journalist. So go and be part and parcel of this process. It's risky, but that's the only way you are going to gather all the accurate information that you need so that the platform will not matter. You will be able to witness everything that these guys do firsthand, being that you will participate in them. So the best stories for terrorism have been those which are investigative. People who go to the front line, then they return with first-hand accounts of what actually happens.
The journalists said the training was a good opportunity for improvement on their reporting on violent extremism.
My name is Chelo Matuzia. I work for Tanzania Broadcasting. I think we're going to use the social media by not revealing every information which a terrorist might be able to access and use them against people. But again, we are going to use the social media to tell the stories about how women are portrayed when it comes to violent extremism.
I am Catherine Nambi.
And in our foreign news, Kenya's government says a dollar shortage beyond their control, and protesters attempted to stop Israel Prime Minister from flying out of the country. Let's have Ishimwe Kase with the details of these stories.
In foreign news, Kenya's Trade Minister Moses Kuria has said the dollar shortage in the country is beyond the government's control. Kuria told MPs that the shortage was a global issue, but also blamed Kenya's culture of importing things that can be manufactured locally. He called for incentives to encourage local manufacturers and protect them from foreign competitors. The Central Bank of Kenya, CBK, has directed commercial banks to ration dollars following a shortage of the currency, local media outlets report. Analysts have blamed the central bank for dollar crisis, saying the regulator introduced tough rules in the interbank currency market. But the regulator has repeatedly maintained that Kenya has sufficient foreign currency reserves to meet demand. The Kenyan shilling has lost 9% against the dollar in over a year, pushing up the cost of living. Tunisia's President Kais Saied has announced that municipal councils elected in 2018 are to be dissolved and replaced by what he called special delegations. The councils were seen as one of the democratic gains achieved in Tunisia after the uprising in 2011 that overthrew the autocratic regime of Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali. The councils are dominated by what are now the main opposition parties to Said, who is increasingly imposing what his critics say is one-man rule. He said the new councils would also be elected, but under new rules that he will write. Protesters in Israel have blocked roads and attempted to stop the Prime Minister from flying out the country amid nationwide demonstrations against controversial judicial reforms. Vehicles obstructed access roads to Ben Gurion Airport, from where Benjamin Netanyahu is due to fly to Rome. The weeks-old protests are some of the biggest Israel has ever seen. Critics say the reforms will undermine democracy. The government says planned changes are better for the electorate. Thousands of protesters, many waving Israel flags and carrying signs with slogans against the reforms, massed on main roads in Tel Aviv, causing major disruptions to traffic. Elsewhere, students in Haifa blocked one of the main entrances to the northern port city, while amid protests in Jerusalem, hundreds of military reservists demonstrated outside the offices of a pro-reform right-wing think tank. Thank you, that's all we had for you in Foreign News. Reporting for NewsHour, I am Kathy Ishimwe.
And in sports news, Uganda to host the Arsenal Africa Fans Festival in April. And the UEFA president set for a maiden visit to Uganda. Here is Diana Orenyi-Peters with the details.
This is Sports Update
The Arsenal Uganda Supporters Club, fans of English Premier League table leaders Arsenal, will host this year's Arsenal Africa Fans Annual Festival, slated for next month. The festival, which will have Arsenal supporters from across the continent, is scheduled to take place from 7th to 10th April 2023. The president of European football ruling body, UEFA, Alexander Seferin, is set to visit Uganda. His first visit to the country. The UEFA boss will land in the country on March 14th with a primary purpose of checking on the Al Guma Foundation projects. The foundation, an initiative of sports journalist Rita Aliguma, was set to help the underprivileged through sports. Away from Uganda, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta would not reveal if striker Gabriel Jesus had travelled for the first leg of his side's last 16 Europa League tie against Sporting Lisbon this evening. Brazil forward Jesus, who has not played since December because of a knee injury, trained in London on Wednesday before the squad flew to Portugal. When asked in Lisbon if the 25-year-old was also there, Arteta remained coy. Meanwhile, Manchester United will be playing Spanish side Real Betis later this evening. This follows their thumping by Liverpool 7-0 in the English Premier League last weekend. Police have not found enough evidence to charge anyone for a crime after a video appeared to show the Memphis Grizzlies player Joe Morant holding a gun in a Colorado nightclub. The All-Star NBA guard, aged 23, apologized following a live broadcast on his Instagram page on Saturday. He has been suspended for at least 2 matches and the NBA is investigating. However, police said they were not able to determine that probable cause existed for the filing of any charges. That's it for our sports updates in News Hour. I'm Diano Olwen Peters.
And in the weather forecast for tomorrow, the weather forecast for some areas of Western Nile, Rwenzori Western and the central parts of Lake Victoria are likely to experience isolated thunder showers in the morning. Later in the early afternoon, most areas of the country may develop cloudy conditions and isolated thunder showers. Let's have Ishimwe Kase with a detailed weather forecast for tomorrow.
In our weather forecast for tomorrow, Friday, 10th of March 2023, let's start with the Eastern Lake Victoria Basin in Tororo, Busia, Bujiri, Mayuge, Iganga, Jinja, and Namayingo. We're likely to have isolated showers in the morning and isolated thunder showers in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. Central Lake Victoria Basin in Wuyukwe, Kayunga, Mukono, Kampala, Entebbe, Wachiso, Mpigi, Buvuma and Kalangala, we are likely to have isolated thunder showers in the morning and in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 24 degrees to 27 degrees Celsius. Western Lake Victoria Basin in Rakai, Kadisizo, Masaka, Luengo, Bukomansimbi, Kalungu, Sembabli and Yantonde, we are likely to have isolated thunder showers in the morning and isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 24 degrees to 27 degrees Celsius. Western parts of Central in Butambala, Gomba, Mitiana, Mubende, Chiboga and Chankwanzi, we are likely to have isolated showers in the morning and isolated thunder showers in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. Eastern parts of Central in Luwero, Nakaseke and Nakasongola, we are likely to have isolated showers in the morning and isolated thunder showers in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. Midwestern in Chibale, Kakumiro, Kagadi, Hoima, Masindi, Bulisa and Chidiandongo,
we are likely to have isolated showers in the morning and isolated thunder showers in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. Northern Rwenzori, in Wundibujo, Kawarore, Ntoroko, Chenjojo, Kamwengi and Chekegwa, we are likely to have sunny intervals in the morning and isolated thunder showers in the afternoon, with temperatures ranging from 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. Thank you, that's all we had for you in our weather forecast for tomorrow. I am Kathy Ishinge.
And with that, we come to the end of News Hour for tonight. On behalf of the entire team, including my producer, Henry Baguma, this is Alex Wandeva, and do not forget to join us again tomorrow for yet another update of the latest. Good night.
Join us again for News Hour, broadcasting on weekdays, 8 p.m. on the UBC Radio Network. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns. UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio. Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Portable FM, West Nile FM and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcast of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
The Uganda Water and Environment Week is back. Join us as we deliver value internally and externally by promoting a multinational integrated approach that links all sectors of water and environment, and also explore and deliberate on the water and environment resources to climate resilience. The week commemorates 3 sector days of World Water Day, World Forestry Day, and World Meteorological Day. The Uganda Water and Environment Week will take place from 12th to 17th March 2023 at the Ministry of Water and Environment headquarters in Luzira, under the theme Water and Environment for Climate Resilient Development.
Uganda Water and Environment Week is organized by Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute with support from development partners.
News Hour Weekend Edition. News Hour Weekend Edition airs every Saturday from 8 to 9 p.m., featuring top stories of the week. Make a date with UBC Radio as we bring you the weekly news roundup. Your favorite national, accurate, balanced, concise and comprehensive newscast. News Hour at 1 p.m. from Monday to Friday, right here on UBC Radios. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio. inspiring Uganda.